Hi everyone. Psychology by definition is the study of the mind and the behavior. Though initially we focused more on behavior because it has roots into philosophy. This is when the behaviorist stepped in, who focused more on the voluntary or the overt behavior an individual had, something that was observable and measurable, something which can be replicated. To make it more scientific, Ivan Pavlov and B.F. Skinner introduced the behaviorist school of psychology. This is why let's talk to Ivan Pavlov today and understand what's classical conditioning and what are the things that are still very relevant in today's psychology. Hi, this is Ivan Pavlov. Through my days in Leipzig, Germany, and now being a physiologist in Russia, I was dealing with a lot of self-doubt and understood that science was my only solace. The place where I felt most myself was during my experiments in Russia. And that is when I stumbled upon classical conditioning. While I was dealing with digestion of dogs, which got me my first Nobel Prize, as you all must know. Why you say dogs? Because one day my dog was really troubling me, so I gave him to science. Haha, just kidding. Now what is classical conditioning? Classical conditioning is basically associative learning. Now associative learning is the association between a neutral stimulus and an unconditional stimulus. What is an unconditional stimulus, you say? It is basically a natural stimulus that evokes a natural response, such as bringing food to a dog. He starts to salivate. And after multiple trials, I saw that once I associated the ringing of a bell with the food, once I ringed the bell again, the dog started salivating. So he associated salivation with rings of a bell and with food that he expected food to follow. And this is how I came up with classical conditioning. Though I hope that it has found its relevance today in a lot of different things in modern psychology. Hi, this is B.F. Skinner. Being a firm believer in science, I feel scientific way is the only way forward in psychology. And at that, I am talking about voluntary behavior, while instinctual behavior is complete BS for me. Now, psychology should only focus on predicting, controlling, and observing behavior. Edward Thorndike, the person who gave the law of effect, laid the foundation for my work in operant conditioning. When I gave the Skinner's box, I have talked about the fact that any voluntary behavior that has consequences, it might be rewarding the behavior or punishing it, increases the likelihood of it happening again or decreases the likelihood of it happening again. This is why I have understood that voluntary behavior is something that can be controlled, something that can be observed. This is why all our focus should be on it, so that we can understand human behavior, control it, predict it, and make a better society out of it. Wow, such great insights from the two famous scholars of psychology. While they gave the concepts of classical conditioning and operant conditioning way back, it has found its roots into countless scenarios even in the modern day. Classical conditioning being a part of the aversion therapy, exposure therapy, and also of modern day advertising, where the neutral stimulus becomes the brand and the positive music, the celebrity who's endorsing it, and the positive environment around the entire commercial becomes the unconditioned stimulus, which helps us gain trust. And on the other hand, operant conditioning is there in everyday scenarios as well, because parents use it every day with their children. If a behavior needs to increase or has the likelihood of increasing, it is reinforced in a positive way. On the other hand, While if you want to decrease a specific behavior in your child, you punish it. And that is what operant conditioning was all about. Positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. So these principles are quite powerful and still very relevant.